All right, here we are. My friend Mike and I, we're going to go to First Fridays on Beale Street in wonderful Kingman, Arizona, and see what it's all about. Stand by. We were unable to use the soundtrack from the original recording because there was so much inappropriate conversation, not just between Mike and I, but also between people passing by. And we do want to make this a little bit family friendly. We just passed the famous Thunder Road motorcycle, where every Saturday morning they hold the farmers market. There is the prisoner transport bus from the Mojave County Correctional Facility. There's another motorcycle shop right there. And here comes a whole load of side-by-sides. As we walk and look at the side-by-sides, we really hope that you enjoy our musical interlude. Also, please note, people aren't really walking this fast. We sped it up just a little bit because it ran into about 45 minutes, and I know that people don't want to watch videos for 45 minutes. I really like those side-by-sides. I kind of wish I had one. Or a nice Jeep like that, something that I can go rock climbing on. We continue to walk up Beale Street, and I say up because this is kind of an uphill part. There's an awful lot of vendors here. Over here you see a little block of well, there's the Healthy Bar, but there's also a little block of art galleries that are here. They were doing art classes for a while. There's a bouncy house on the left side. It was kind of funny. We had a employees day at work when I was working, and they had a bouncy house, and all of a sudden the kids started screaming and carrying on while the bouncy house was losing air. It was deflating. And then we came along and saw that it was unplugged. And we plugged it back in, and the bouncy house re-inflated. And as we walked away, the kids started screaming again, and the bouncy house started to deflate. We did this 3 or 4 times, and then we realized that there was a fellow in one of those little electric buggies for the handicapped people, and every time he rolled over the cord, he was unplugging it. And it was kind of funny that he was doing that because, of course, he was one of our boss's favorite people, and he was just oblivious to the fact that he kept unplugging the bouncy house. But that's enough of that story. It was a silly story anyway. There's another chopper shop. And as we continue to walk along, there was many food trucks in the area. There's the Beale Street Theater. It's supposed to be opening sometime this month or next month to start having shows again. That will be pretty cool. I'm kind of surprised Kingman, for such a small southwest town, and not to stereotype, but I'm really surprised that there's such an incredibly large arts community in Kingman. There's the Renewal by Anderson, the Kingman Club. There's many places. There's a MCC, Mojave County Community College. many places to eat. Just it's Kingman is a really and truly wonderful little town. There's some drawbacks to it. There's some things that could be improved. But the truth of the matter is, the city council and the chamber of commerce, they really try to keep the city moving forward. There's quite a number of people in town. They get frustrated, and all they want to do is keep the city the same. Nothing changes. This is all we're going to do. We don't want growth. And then there's other people that do want growth. The problem with growth is the biggest problem, as I see it, is infrastructure. With the Colorado River being the way it is, so low, and water resources being, I said water. Yeah, there's my best Philadelphia accent. With water resources being the way they are, maybe growth isn't quite the best idea there is in the world. But it is what it is, and I'm sure God will provide. There's the Feral Cat Warriors. That's where I adopted Fury and Max. Fury is my little black cat. He's a Bombay. I guess you don't really want to hear about that. And Onyx is, I'm sorry, Max is my little ginger cat that only has one eye. There's K-Town Cuisine. They have phenomenal food. I will never ever fault their food. Incredible Navajo tacos. There's the Mother Road Harley Davidson booth. Harley Davidsons are the kind of motorcycles that just sell themselves. Either you want one or you don't. I don't know if you can hear in the background, but that's my old grumpy cat Onyx. He gets angry with the kittens because they want to play and he wants to just lay around and be a bum. Kind of like me. Homemade jewelry for sale. There's a lot of turquoise, silver and turquoise jewelry in Kingman in the Southwest because of the Native Americans and what they sell. The lady with the umbrella might have been the smartest one of us all. Me, I'm so pale. 20 minutes in the sun and I turn into a baked lobster. To the right, you'll see Floyd's Barbecue. Walking past, it smelled so good. And I really wasn't that hungry. Those folks were offering free prayer. Nothing wrong with that. It's better than $10 prayers. Kingman has a lot of murals, I've noticed, in the downtown area. A little sign said no open alcoholic containers beyond that point. That's one thing right there that I always liked was people that play the big concert bass. I mean, nothing beats a good electric bass, but that has always really tickled me, was the bass, the violin bass. Ah, there's the good guys. I guess good guys kind of depends on your point of view, but for me, they're the good guys because I was a good guy for 30 years. Just in a different branch. To the right is a coffee bar. For some reason, Kingman has an inordinate amount of coffee places. But it's supply and demand, and I guess they wouldn't be here if people weren't going to them. And that's a bar restaurant kind of place to the right. I think it's called the Rickety Cricket, but it might be something different. Oh, yep, the Rickety Cricket. There's a nice, pretty car. A whole lot of nice, pretty cars, really. Desert Southwest is really, really a popular place for cars, new classics and old classics. They because there's no rust. Beautiful artwork on that hood. There's a DeSoto. A 57 Chevy. There was a couple 57 Chevys. I used to be in love with the 57s. I also liked the 55s. But then I saw a movie called American Graffiti. And we'll circle back to American Graffiti. There's a car done up like the Death car from Death Proof, the movie Death Proof. We also saw that at the Golden Valley car show. Now I see the lady in the wheelchair, and it reminds me, of course, of my wife and her wheelchair. And if I have any complaint about Kingman whatsoever, is that a lot of the stores and restaurants aren't exactly what you would call handicapped accessible. Nice Camaro, a rat rod, and there is a 1970 Charger. And because of the lime green color, it reminded me of the car from Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. But back to the Death Proof car. We saw that car, but it's not truly the Death Proof car because it actually has seats in it. But that's okay because the outside looks good. Sorry about the sunburn on the camera lens. There wasn't really a whole lot I could do about it. With this particular camera, I can't really use a hood on it. I thought about maybe taping just a little piece of cardboard as a hood, but I don't know how that would work. Perhaps I should try tilting it down a little bit. That was definitely not the original engine in that. The green building right there is an embroidery place. They do fabulous, fabulous work in there. And then that restaurant is Milindo Helasco. And I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but they have phenomenal food in there if you like Mexican food. It's very, very authentic. Wonderful fish tacos. There's an outhouse. Sourdough pretzel bits. I was sorely, sorely tempted. But with my diabetes, I don't need that kind of carbohydrates. And this is interesting. There is the chief of police himself out there. He doesn't think it below him to go out and do public relations things. It is really nice that they do things like this in Kingman. Very family friendly. There's the EMTs. And then these two got ready to start playing. And I even turned back because they were going to play, and then this fellow came over to talk to them, so they weren't playing, and I got bored and it was time to go. There's Cheech and Chong. And since I'm no longer in law enforcement, I can partake. And behind that is the Blackbridge Brewery. They have a lot of microbrewery type beers and ales. Kind of a funny thing that I couldn't use the soundtrack because it was really and truly a shame. It is a shame that you couldn't hear the music. There were a lot of local bands playing. There's the art gallery to the left. The turquoise colored building right in front of us is Beale Celebrations, and they do a lot of what do I want to say? You can rent it out for weddings, or you can they have classes in there. Sometimes they have a craft type market. Wells Fargo Bank. It's kind of appropriate since Wells Fargo was a huge, huge company in the Old West. And the funny thing, not funny, but the, they really do, the city does a really good job of keeping the area nice. They don't just clean it up for First Friday or for parades. It's really, really a nice area. And there's a rattlesnake. I got to see a rattlesnake in the wild. It was a bit of a shame because it was in a pavilion that we had rented. Um, and they don't call them pavilions out here in the West. They call them ramadas. And don't say pavilion to somebody from Arizona because they're like, what? It's a ramada. But anyway, it was a shame because we were at a picnic at this ramada, and there was this snake, and we had kids there, and they weren't being careful, so we had to call the park ranger. And it's just a shame when he removed it. He said that they were going to have to kill the snake anyway, because on account of it was snakes are territorial, and if you take them away from their home base, within a couple days they'll be right back where they were. So since it was a nuisance snake, it had to go. That purple building on the right was a an arcade kind of place, and they actually had laser tag, and I was going to take some of my friends and go play laser tag, which would have been funny on so many levels, because just think about a bunch of old dudes over 60 chasing each other around with laser guns playing laser tag. That would have been funny. Gotta wonder which one of us would have had a heart attack first. There's a bunch of food trucks, and then there's the market. I ate a hamburger from that market once, and gosh, within 45 minutes I was in the bathroom, unable to get out. I guess I'll stay away from gas station hamburgers. There was hillbilly tea, and it made me wonder if they had moonshine in it. That area there is called the patio, and they sometimes on Friday nights the food trucks gather there. I think there was some kind of disagreement between the market there and the food trucks, so they stopped for a while. I don't know if they're back or not. It's a shame because that was a really convenient spot to go and have your pick of food trucks. There's the Young Marines. They were trying to get me to buy a raffle ticket for a Ruger 5.56, and I said, well, I already have one. There's the bounce house again. Apparently this one stayed plugged in. And there's a coffee place that's on a trailer that they just park in different places. There's hot dogs. I love hot dogs. And there's a car right there in front of us. And it's a little difficult to see, but it's a 1972 Pinto. And I had a 1972 Pinto just like that. Not that color, but and we're getting towards the end again. There's the Mojave Search and Rescue. They do really good work, and I would say they probably get called out at least once a week. People go into the desert. This is the end of First Friday. It was a really nice time. Kingman puts on a nice little show. If anybody's interested, there's Locomotive Park. It's supposed to be some kind of historic significant thing. I'm not much on history. At least other people say that.